Greetings, all you Jackson Jennets, and welcome to your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, coming to you with some Steelers talk. We'll call this preseason edition, week one, of course. As you know, this done playing their first game, so we got to see actual football plays going on. It was nice. I got to watch the game live. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Acrisure Stadium, first game ever there was a fun one with the Steelers beating the Seahawks 32-25, led by a last-second touchdown by the first-round draft pick, the man who's been playing in that stadium for 5 years, the one, the only, Kenny Pickett, leading a Pickett charge to win the game with no time remaining, essentially. Boy, was it fun to watch. What can you say about the game? Lots of good stuff, lots of bad stuff we'll get into talking about here. But I want to start off on the highest of high notes, and that's last year, Steelers' first quarter offense, first drive offense, whatever you want to call it, abysmal. First preseason game, we had not one, not two, but three different quarterbacks on their first drives score a touchdown. You had more methodical drives with things just going right, led by both Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky on their first touchdowns. Of course, Trubisky opened the game with the touchdown. And then you had the Mason Rudolph highs and lows of everything. Dan Moore Jr. blows a block on the first play. Strip sack of Rudolph. He gets the ball back. Big loss. Second play, little draw play, get themselves some breathing room. Third play, a pretty pile-on pass to George Pickens, and he makes the catch in the corner of the end zone. Pretty pass, pretty throw. It's everything you wanted to see. But let's get into what did we see overall game sense from me. Let's start offensive side. Overall, all three quarterbacks looked good. All three quarterbacks showed some shortcomings, we'll call it. But what I did notice was with all three quarterbacks in there, if you've ever watched a Matt Canada offense, that preseason game with all the motion, all the running tight ends underneath, running wide receivers underneath to get them open is something we didn't see last year in the Ben Roethlisberger swan song era, we'll call it. And but it's exactly, if you've watched Matt Canada before, it's what he does. That's what I expected to see, was a lot more of Matt Canada's handprints all over this offense. And I really hope it works out the way it did in this preseason game, because watching the team score 30 points was something fun. Second off, maybe backup running back isn't as dire as I would have thought. We had three decent performances from guys out there, and none were named Benny Snell Jr. as he was hurt, and might be bad news for him giving all these other guys a chance, because unless he steps up, I think he could be in trouble, though the Steelers love him and he's a good special teamer, so I highly doubt he actually is in trouble. But good play from all three quarterbacks. Really good play from the backup running backs outside of one fumble. And who are the six receivers the Steelers keep? Because there was a lot of guys putting a lot of tape out there that looked pretty darn good, you have to say. And then tight end play was fine. Sternberger made some catches. Connor Hayward made some catches. Had a costly false start penalty. And not much you can say there. I expect the tight ends to set, but maybe Sternberger has a chance to push for a job. Offensive line looked a lot better in terms of stopping the run. Pass protection looked very, very iffy. I'm specifically looking at Kendrick Green, who looks better as a guard than he did as a center, but still got pushed into that backfield way too often. And Dan Moore, who got smoked by a couple of backups, and that's concerning to me because I didn't think Dan Moore looked good last year. And the Steelers didn't add any reasonable talent to push the position, unless you think Joe Haig's going to take a step forward, because the starter we brought in was a guy in Scott who was one of the worst-rated tackles, actually the worst-rated tackle last year when he played. And if you watched him, he got absolutely smoked the whole time he was in. So that covers my generalizations of the offense. Let's get more specifically into players. I thought Mitchell Trubisky looked good when he had time. Looked a little scattered when he got pressure on him, which is kind of what's always been the thing with him. The deeper passes weren't as accurate as you would have liked to see. Did hit Oluski for a wide open touchdown. Let's get into... So, mixture good and bad. Nothing to really hurt his position. Nothing to cement him as guaranteed number one. You look at Mason Rudolph, same thing with him. Deep pass looked pretty on the thing to Pickett. You can't really blame, or Pickens, excuse me. You can't really blame him on the sack that happened. And then a couple drops hurt him, or he could have had another touchdown, but he almost threw an interception. And mid-range passes always seem to be a little high, which is the thing I've always noted before. So he struggles with that short to mid, not mid to long, short to mid-range passing zones, always a little high on it, and that continued. You put Kenny Pickett out there. I thought he looked pretty good. Questionable decision making led to the 4th down fail. I would have liked to see a little more accuracy on a couple of the deep balls he threw, but all in all, good game from him. Had to fight off the nerves, and I'm not gonna lie, hearing the whole Acrisure Stadium just chanting Kenny, Kenny, Kenny was the highlight of the whole game for me. I hope Kenny Pickett takes the starting job and runs with it. But honestly, all 3 of these guys did good. No one did great, and no one did below good. So I think all 3 should be in the fight. Maybe next week we get to see Rudolph with the ones. I don't know. But that was fun to see. You get to the running back things. McFarland, healthy, looking explosive out there, albeit you can't take too much into a preseason game. I understand there's a bunch of backups playing, but McFarland looked really good running the ball. You also had coming after him, my gosh, why can't I think of his name right now? Warren out there, and he looked pretty good. The rookie undrafted guy out of Oklahoma State, I believe, looked really good. Had a little bit of explosiveness there, hit the holes pretty well. Had that fumble, though, that makes you wonder a little bit, but good effort on a couple catches and looked good catching the ball out of the backfield from Kenny Pickett. That was really good to see. There's also Mateo Durant came in and had a really big block on one of the catches by a tight end that I like to see. That was good. Master Teague just brought in after the injury to McKinley, the injury to McKinley. Played really, really well, I thought, out there. Hit the holes hard. Was a big guy. Looked like he's thumping downhill. All the backs over 4 yards of carry, something you would love to see, and I hope that continues. I already talked about the offensive line, the people I liked and didn't like there. My big question is, you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. If this game continues, who are the 6 receivers you keep? Because obviously Deontay Johnson's there. You have to assume Claypool, George Pickens, and Austin make it right there. That's 4. Olszewski, based off the fact that he's an all-pro punt returner and looked really good in the slot yesterday, it was yesterday for me still. Yesterday, you had to put him up high on that list. Miles Boykin is a really good coverage guy on special teams and went out there and made a couple contested catch for Kenny Pickens. Now I'm calling Kenny Pickett. I'm going to get Pickens and Pickett mixed up all year. I don't know why. Don't ask. Anyway, he made a couple really good hands catches in there. Sims had a huge kick return, a good move on a jet sweep run play. He looked pretty good. Tyler Vaughn went out there and made a couple catches. I mean, I loved watching all these receivers compete and play, and who knows who ends up taking it. But I tell you right now, I like the depth it looks like we're going to have at receiver, maybe even at running back. I understand it was the Seahawks backups, and I'd like to see actual season games from these guys, but can't complain with the tape they're putting up right now, and that's all you can ask for. Let's get to the defensive side of the ball. Still really concerning, giving up 6.1 yards a carry, like 150 rushing yards. I know there wasn't a lot of starters playing, but still watching the defense just get run all over and not be able to cover running backs coming out of the backfield. This is the same problem we've been having for like 10 years now. The fact that you see it in the first preseason game is a little alarming. Kind of fun to see, but Devin Bush, I believe, was playing on the other side of the middle linebacker field with Miles Jack this time. A little different look out there. I don't know what that was all about. But hey, if it helps him play better, I hope so. He didn't look too good out there. Miles Jack, on the other hand, looked good out there. Made that huge 3rd down stop on a run. The defensive linemen, let's start there. After the middle linebackers, obviously. No push at all from really any of the outside linebackers who were the backups or defensive linemen. I mean, we had a coverage sack by Mondu and a huge play at the end of the game that I'll get into more from Robinson. But really no push from the defensive linemen except for DeMarvin Leal when he came in. got some push in there, made some plays. I really liked seeing that, and I thought that was really good for him. But outside to Marvin Leal, I thought all the backups out there, and really Wormley, Mondu, Louder, Milk, both the Davises. I wasn't feeling it, and even maybe it's because they were missing a backup like Montravius Adams out there, but it did not feel really well for them at the defensive line. You go to the linebacking core again, more of the same, really not much going on there. The newly claimed Hamilcar Rashed Jr. coming in with a big sack. Maybe he has a chance to break the roster because no one else really impressed. And this guy, in less than a week, goes out and puts out some good game tape. So I like to see that. Would like to see some more of him going into the forward motions out there. Was really disappointed by all the young middle linebackers. None of them really stepping up. Mark Robinson, I said I liked him as a downhill player, and maybe that's where he makes it because he made a few good tackles on runs and had the huge strip sack that set up the Kenny Pickett to Tyler Vaughn touchdown at the end of the game. So maybe Robinson has a special thing there. Like I said, he reminded me when you put on his tape a lot of Vince Williams. And there's no more to say than that. And if you watch him try to cover, that's exactly who he should remind you of because he couldn't cover anybody out there. So not really impressed by any of the young linebackers. So I thought all had a chance to show up and maybe earn themselves a roster spot. Nothing going there. DeMonte Cassie, Terrell Edmonds, I thought played fine when they were in there. Hopefully the injury to Akila Witherspoon that happened isn't big, but Sutton played fine. Wallace played fine. I thought Arthur Millette got beat a couple times in coverage, which kind of was bad. But if you looked at his leadership on the sideline and his play inside the box, that's what Millette's there for. He's more of a downhill corner, a less talented, like I always say, Mike Hilton. And that's what he played like. Struggles a little bit in the coverage, but did what you expect outside of that. And really, outside of those, there wasn't any plays on the defense that got me going, whoo, let's go. That's what I like to see. I mean, end of the half, watching the 2-minute D just get absolutely driven on. Not fun to see. The Khalil Davis hit that ended the game on the lateral play was a boom, and that was really nice. All in all, not a bad day for the Steelers. It only looked like Witherspoon and Carl Joseph got hurt in the game. Hopefully Joseph isn't as bad as it looked like it was when he got carted off. Don't know. But like I said, a lot of good, a lot of bad, still a lot of questions. Can this offensive line actually hold up against a good one? How do these quarterbacks look when they actually play people who can cover a little bit? Because let's be honest, even if the Seahawks were playing their starters, I don't think that's that scary of a defense. And they definitely were not playing their starters. So who knows what we got going on there. Offensive side, it looked really good, but we'll have to see. Defensive side, the problems that were plaguing the Steelers forever are still the problems that are plaguing the Steelers. Hopefully when the starters get in there, that becomes not the case. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. Got another game coming up this week. Hopefully I'll get the Gingy and the Laskers in here so we can talk a little bit of Steelers football and what we've seen through 2 preseason games. But that's my breakdown of the first preseason game for the Steelers. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you felt I missed some good performance or didn't list some bad performance, because overall I listed all the players I thought stood out for whatever reasons. Hopefully we get a better performance next week, because if we keep getting better, who knows where this team can go? Who knows becomes the quarterback? But it's time to let you know who my shout-out's going to be. And this week's shout-out's got to be Acrisure Stadium's first ever game-winning drive is led by none other than the former Pitt Panther, the current Pittsburgh Steeler, Kenny Pickett, leading his first Pickett charge down the field. His first game-winning drive in the NFL, albeit preseason. Still awesome to watch. I love it. I would love to see more and more and more of the legend of Kenny Pickett hopefully keep going, and I wish this is just the launch pad of what is a great career for him, I'm hoping. Guess it's time to let you know I am the Viking Donkey. That's Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. Your daily dose of donkey with Ginger is the YouTube channel where you can catch us. Leave us a like, leave us a follow, leave us a comment. Tell us what you like, don't like, all that fun stuff, same as normal. And football time is here. It's upon us. So Steeler Nation, as my kids were doing on Saturday, they yelled at me because I didn't have the towels out because it was only a preseason game. But hey, they wanted them. So you know what we did? It was time. Wave them if you got them. Here we go.